This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms and opportunities for businesswomen to be seen and heard. This platform is for the women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. Come and join the Shine On You Crazy Daisy membership, offering online networking, co-working, collaboration, and monthly masterclasses for you to grow your knowledge. Go to thedaisychaingroup.com for more information. These are the platforms to hear and share the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. I am your host, Trudy Simmons, and today I am thrilled and excited to introduce you to Kim Woods from Kim Woods Advisory. Kim, thank you so much for being involved in the book and the podcast. Please tell us about your business.
Thanks so much for having me here, Trudy. I'm so delighted to be part of your world. And so my business is about helping female entrepreneurs know, like, and trust themselves better so that they'll have higher levels of satisfaction along with their success. So basically what it means like more power, more money, all the good stuff.
I love that, more power, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way, right.
You say in your chapter, it takes me too long to recognize I'm not doing anything right. And this came from years of doing what was wrong for you. What was the point that you realized this?
Okay, I would love to say that it was just like this one moment of brilliance and then I shifted everything and it was a Hallmark movie and everything was great. No, that would be a lie. So it was, no. It took literally my entire life to be in shambles, right? As I think a lot of us kind of look back on and we're like, oh my goodness. So my son was born with developmental issues. My husband was in the hospital dying. Like my daughter was a baby at home. We were starting a business because it was the only thing I could think of to kind of put my husband on like the shelf without, having him get depressed, right? But having him not do that much, right? And it was all through this that looking outside of business, quote unquote, like that corporate track that I was on, that I realized like I am wretchedly, like not unhappy, but not happy, right? So I'm pursuing this goal, I'm pursuing this next target, I'm just pursuing all these things that I don't care about. Right? Like, oh, make this much money a month and like have this many clients and make sure all your consultants are fine. And, there were all these goals and I was just goal-oriented, like a hamster on a wheel. And so because of that, because of all the turmoil in my life, I had to put together a formula for life that was different. I needed to look at Western practices. I needed to look at different ways for healing because we had, extremists in the family. And it was through that, you go to Eastern practice, right? Like Eastern method, they're going to tell you to chill. Yeah. They're going to be like, settle down, quiet down, go meditate, right? And I'm like, okay, but I actually, because my life was so fraught, I had to do it. So I couldn't avoid doing it. And so once I started slowing down and started going inward, I realized like, holy crap, I'm doing this all wrong. Like everything, like literal existential crisis. I was like, I am doing my life wrong.
When you said the word wretchedly, there's such a visceral feeling to that because we know when we are doing wrong for ourselves, and that wretched feeling that you get from it, if you don't do something about it at that point, that's how dis-ease starts in your body. It's how people get sick from just doing what they're doing, that hamster wheel approach to things.
Exactly. And it's when you're not serving yourself at all. Right. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been brought up that way. It's societally conditioned. It's it could be cultural. It could, there's so many reasons that we do it. And honestly, this is going to sound weird, but it's easier to look outside yourself than it is to look internally.
Of course it is.
So you can say, oh, what if I were doing this or what if I were doing that versus like, what do I want to do?
Yeah. And then doing it.
You
talk about falling back into the same job and the same pattern in different companies.
Yeah.
and people pleasing, which I love talking about. How did you change this mindset for yourself?
So it's interesting. It wasn't a mindset change, Trudy. It was a heart set change.
Nice.
So I needed to figure out, as I was doing all these Eastern methods, I was cracking open my heart, and I was realizing, wow, my heart has a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It has to say a lot about what do I desire, what satisfies me, what's fulfilling, the different words than what is success and what are the goals and how do people view me, right? It's like there's a whole reorientation. And it was once I started getting into my heart set, I realized, wait a minute, how could I possibly be serving, quote unquote, anybody else if I am completely eroded? If I am completely a shell of myself, then clearly this service-oriented people pleasing, I wasn't doing a very good job, right? So yeah, it was honestly, yeah, it was my heart just kind of almost bleeding.
Yeah, God, you're so good with words. And it does feel like that sometimes when you're actually people pleasing, of that, my heart is bleeding right now. A heart set, I love that. Knowing what you know now, what satisfies and fulfills you?
Oh, okay. So many things. So I could say that I love to garden and I love to read and I love to cook and I love to be on the ocean, and all those things are true. And yet that's a satisfaction, that's a happiness, that's a more contentedness. What exhilarates me and what gets me really super jazzed, and this is going to sound so corny and I just apologize profusely for it, it's the work that I do. No, it's terrible. I know it's just terrible to say that because it sounds so pat, but it's true. Like, honestly, most people that have reached my point of my career and my point, like all my friends, they're all retired. And so I'm sitting here doing this like doggedly because I love it. I can't help myself. I just can't stop, Trudy. You asked me to write this chapter for this book. I don't have a hot minute for it. I'm like, yes, I will definitely do this. I will make this happen. Somebody asked me to write an article. I'm like, absolutely. You want me to do, this collaboration? Someone else is helping me. I'm helping someone else promote her book next week. Yes. I love it.
That is the absolute joy, I think, of having your own business, is if you do not love it to the extent that you're talking about and that I talk about, then there's no point in doing it. But having your own business, being an entrepreneur, being a businesswoman is not about working 9 till 5. I find that hilarious. It is all the hours in all the days. You're always thinking about it. And if your joy comes from that, you're winning.
I know. I agree. I mean, I just can't even help myself. So I was on the boat this last weekend with my husband, and I do astrology, right? So I was looking at 2023, and I was opening it all up, and I was just looking around. I was like, thank you, God. This is like the best thing ever. The sun is shining. I'm on a boat. It was beautiful. I'm so lucky. I feel so lucky.
Lucky with action.
Lucky with action. That's right.
If there was one lesson you've learned that you want every entrepreneur to know, what would it be?
It's okay not to know something.
Ooh, yes.
Right? It's okay. What I find, and this goes back to, even my early days of being an entrepreneur, the CEOs that I would meet that would say, I don't know. Do you know how to do that? Do you know somebody that knows this? They were quote unquote more successful. And what that meant was that they had support, that they were able to grow, that they were able to rely on others in a way that if you think that you have to know everything and you're posturing and you're positioning, think of the questions you're not asking, but think of the answers you're not getting.
Wow. I like that. That is brilliant. And I've had conversations with people where they say, with coaching and with being on camera and things, but what if you don't know the answer? Well, then I say, I don't know the answer.
Right.
To some people, that's so scary.
Yeah. Right. Especially if you're in a quote unquote advisory position, you're supposed to quote unquote, you're supposed to know. Well, guess what? As an entrepreneur, you absolutely can't know everything. You just can't. It's impossible. Think of how many things you would have had to have done. You would have had to have done everything in the world. That's not reasonable.
That's the joy of learning as well.
Exactly.
This is why I love doing these podcasts, because each one I do, I learn something from somebody that I speak to. They'll say one sentence and I think that's just changed the way that I'm going to approach something. Heart set, brilliant. Not changing your mind, it's changing your heart. I'm taking that.
I am forewarned, my friend.
What is your favorite piece of business software?
I love Otter AI. So it's OTTER.ai.
Mm.
When you're writing a chapter or you're writing a book or you're writing an article or you're writing a post or an email, you can just speak into a voice memo and, whatever you say, blah, 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 blah. You say word salad and you literally throw it into this software. It transcribes it for you. And it's very sophisticated because it does it in a way. We even use it for our closed caption on our videos. It knows that you probably don't want to say, so it doesn't stick that in, right? And it doesn't do a lot of the repeat. And it's brilliant because you already are 75% of the way finished with whatever it is you have to do in writing. And you've saved so much time. You just talked into something for 2 minutes.
Otter.ai. I'm going to look at, I'm sure it's been mentioned before, but I haven't looked at it. But yeah, what a piece of software to be able to have for social media content as much as anything else.
Everything. I mean, absolutely everything.
Amazing. Kim, it is such a pleasure to have you involved in this book. And thank you so much for telling us your story in the book and on the podcast. I can't wait to get it out to other people.
I know, me too. So exciting. Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please like the video and click the subscribe button for this channel for more inspiration. If you're a businesswoman looking for that community that will support you and lift you up, come and join the Shine On You Crazy Daisy membership, offering online networking, co-working, collaboration, and monthly masterclasses to grow your knowledge. Go to thedaisychaingroup.com for more information. And for even more inspiration, please go to the link under the video and get your copy of the Shine On You Crazy Daisy series of books with inspirational and motivating stories from businesswomen around the world.